Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for the brief 4-minute delay. I came in running this morning, but welcome to our our board briefing, our mid-month board briefing. And at this time, I would like to welcome Mr. Rodney Bullard up here. He's going to be acting as our deputy superintendent this morning for this meeting. So at this time, Mr. Deputy Superintendent, do we have any public comments or presentations?
No, we do not.
Okay. At this time, we will review the agenda items to give board members an opportunity to ask questions and make comments. We will need an executive session to discuss litigation, personnel, and property. So, board members, do we have any questions or comments about the agenda? Okay. Are there any questions or comments about the minutes from the regular board meeting held on May 13th? All right. Item number 2, consideration of recommendation for employment of personnel. Item number 3, consideration of recommendation for release of personnel. Item number 4, consideration of recommendation to approve the following from the Building and Grounds Committee. 4A, the HVAC upgrades at 6 elementary sites, project change order number 1. 4B, Mary Acres Middle School gym and locker upgrades project change orders. 4C, Dougherty High School Phase 3 new gymnasium architect contract revision. 4D, Westover High School Phase 2 construction project architect contract revision. And 4E, the Westover High School Phase 2 construction project linear engineering proposal. Okay, item number 5, consideration of recommendation to approve the Success Coaching Contract for Gear Up students, families, and staff. Item number 6, consideration of recommendation to review the board operating procedures. 6A, board norms and responsibilities, policy BBBA. 6B, board member conflict of interest, policy BHA. And 6C, the board code of ethics, policy BH. Item number 7, consideration of recommendation to approve the following consent items. Fundraising request and out-of-state field trip request. All right, questions or comments on item 8, tentative fiscal year 25 budget. And I believe we've all been given that information.
Is there an imposter here?
I think it just came. It just.
I'm sorry. Did he sign up to speak? Was there anybody signed up to speak? Yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm taking half of that minute back.
Yes, sir. You have 1 minute.
I moved to take a half of that minute back.
In short, we have a lot of money, and we're going to spend a lot of money, and it's going to be spent for a good reason. Any more questions? All right. Well, here's our budget development for FY25. I want to thank Ms. Hatcher and her team for putting this together. This is not working with you. It must be me. All right. Of course, you know our vision is to be a destination school system. Our mission is to meet the academic and non-academic of our students. And our FY25 budget approach, which we want to maximize our revenue as always, by ensuring that our students' FT is reflected accurately and the coding is accurate. We identified opportunities for cost efficiencies as well as maintaining a competitive compensation structure. As you know, it's a very competitive labor market right now. We want to support our strategic plan, our prior areas of early literacy, academic rigor and relevance, social and emotional wellness, investment in human capital, family and community engagement, and of course maintain an adequate fund balance to offset any potential decrease in revenues. And then of course we want to leverage all funding streams, state funding, local funding, federal funding, continue our modified zero-based budgeting process, demonstrate sustainability with our budget recommendations, and finalize the transition to less federal support for ESSER funds. Of course, that's sunsetting in September 30th, 24.
Mr. Dar, is that microphone on?
I think it's on. Is it on? Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Just what I do this year. All right, there you go. All right. Our revenue for this year, about $14 million more than it was last year. Some of the highlights include $3.6 million in additional funding for salary increases allowed for certified teachers and other personnel. We will receive about $1.8 million for your contribution to QBE, for state health benefits plan for our certified employees. Our equalization is going up by about $8.2 million. And of course, equalization is the way the state narrows the gap between high wealth and low wealth districts in terms of property tax, property wealth per student. Our 5-meal share is the required amount that school systems have to pay out of that QBE earning, and our 5-meal share was reduced from about $10.3 million last year to $10 million this year, and that's a $340,000 impact, but it's a positive impact by net revenue, but that's the money that we have to pay out of the our local revenue. So we have to pay $340,000 less. And then custodial supplements. The state's going to provide a $1,000 supplement for each active custodian, and that'll be funded by the DOE. And last year they did that around September. Property tax, local revenue. We anticipate that the property tax digest will increase by about 2/3%. We have preliminary numbers on April 22nd. We have not gotten the final digest numbers yet. For FY24, our millage rate was 17.993. That was a reduction from 18.096 the previous year. We don't anticipate a millage rate increase this year. In fact, we've reduced the millage rate 7 out of the last 8 years. Other local revenue sources will be determined at a later date. The tax information, real estate transfer taxes, things of that nature. Another significant item is increasing the teacher retirement employer rate. It went up from 19.98% to 20.78%. That's 0.8%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking about a $100 million payroll, that's a lot. So we have that considered. Of course, state health benefit plan, we've talked about that several times. The increase certified amount is going up to a match of $21,120 per year beginning this next fiscal year, and going up $18,960. And of course, although the state does provide funding for the certified employees that we earn in QBE, they do not provide it for those that are not earned in QBE, nor do they provide it for grant funding positions. Classified employees, talk about a 3-year phased approach on that. The last week of the legislative session in 2024, the state Senate proposed that they skip a year and go straight to the 18,960 for certain classified employees. But the governor recommended the initial plan, and the state and the House supported that. However, they compromised with the Senate, and so the increase that was scheduled for January 25 will take place as scheduled. It'll be $1,580 per member per month, and then the increase was supposed to take place the following January, but now It's going to take place July, July 25, fiscal year 26, and it'll be the what's supposed to be $18,960 per year. It's now going to be the $21,120. They put a provision in that the classified state health match will match the certified state health match. But of course, we don't get any funding from the state for the classified employees. Other things to consider: $25 pay increase and step increase for professional certified employees. As I just mentioned, the $1,000 supplement for custodians. This budget does reflect an increase in the DCSS minimum wage for full-time employees to $15 per hour, as we've discussed for quite some time. And it also includes step increase for classified employees who are eligible for a step increase. That's in addition to the $15 per hour. Other things to note: starting teacher pay for first-year teachers with bachelor's degrees will be $47,500. We also still have additional funds available for recruitment incentives. As we mentioned before, we're in a very competitive labor market, so we're going to continue to review our certified and classified positions to ensure that we are providing competitive salary structure for those positions, and that will be included in that compensation that we just mentioned. This is our QBE allotment sheet from the state. As you can see in this section right here, we're running about slightly less than $121 million in state funds. We earn about 131, 132, and but our 5-year share, that $10 million, is what we have to pay. What we earn, that means we get $121 million. This is just a graphical depiction of our state, of our revenue. About 71% comes from the state, 122 million, 600,000. Another 51 million from local sources, and about 45,000 comes from federal sources. That's our general fund revenue. Then all of our funds, including our revenue and fund balance that we have available this year, totals about $341 million, with the bulk of that being our general fund, we just mentioned, about $210 million, with our special revenue funds. That includes Title I and other federal funds that we get from the state and federal government. Our capital projects fund is about $44 million. Our debt service fund is about $10 million. And enterprise fund slightly less than $20 million. Our millage rate, as we talked about, our millage rate has been declining steadily over the last 7 years, and right now it stands at 17.993. Yes. Well, in short, we have a finance committee chair who is he is adamant about making sure we our fiscal good.
The reason I mentioned that is because people that look like you and James Brooks, they think we keep names.
So we do a pretty good job. It's always food for it.
And you and your staff.
Yes, sir.
Board, education board.
Right.
Coach John said, job.
Yes, sir. I thank you for that. But it's a team effort. Of course, Ms. Hatcher and her team do a great job of helping manage the resources that we provide. Of course, the board in your stewardship, your leadership in terms of governance, set parameters. We work, and you set the expectations. We try our best to meet them. So that's that team effort is the reason why you see that continued decline in our administration. Thank you for that. I do a lot of taxpayers who do. They always want more. Some folks won't pay any tax. I can buy to that, but tax that's what we've done. It's essential. We want to charge as little as we have to in terms of taxes of our citizens.
Well, let me ask you one more question. You went to school up there at Harris County.
Yeah, I went to Harris County through 8th grade and finished with
And also in Albany. Did your parents pay for your education on taxes?
well, Taxpayers, it included my parents, pay property taxes. Yes, sir. And then, of course, our strategic plan, you know, we have our priority focus areas, early literacy, academic rigor and relevance, social and emotional wellness, investment in human capital, and family and community engagement. And our budget aligns to those priorities with our literacy specialists who are previously funded under ESSA through ESSA funds. We move to the general fund. We continue our letters training for those teachers in grades pre-K through 2, and we increased the number of pre-K classes to a total of 8. We had 5 new classes last year. We just found out yesterday that we have 3 new classes this year, general education classes. So we 8 new classes in the last 2 years for general education pre-K. And as you know, that's been the #1 priority of this board for the last 6 years in terms of legislative priorities. And advocacy work takes a while, sometimes it pays off. And that'll be more students get access to pre-K services. We think will assist with our literacy efforts, early literacy efforts, as well as overall academic achievement. Those academic rigor and relevance. Again, we talked about increasing the number of pre-K classes to 8. We hired a instructional information coordinator last year. We're looking at hiring 2 specialists to assist as we leverage our AI in our instruction. We acquired supplemental instructional resources in AI, Magic School, EduAid.ai, and different. Of course, our teacher apprenticeship program will continue to have our paid work and learning opportunity. We're expanding our accelerated career diploma option with Dougherty Tech. We're going to have a program, a culinary program. Chef Sly qualifies as a faculty at Dougherty Tech. So those students that take his course at Westover, he'll amend the syllabus to meet the Auburn Tech requirements, so they can get technical college credit for completing those classes at Westover. Same thing with the barbering at Dougherty. We already have that opportunity at Monroe. Social and emotional wellness. We continued with our student support coordinator, the mentoring program. We'll expand that effort. Our Leader in Me, our student development program. That we've talked about sometimes the challenge in terms of behavior and attendance in schools, particularly since the pandemic, not just in Dougherty County, not just in Georgia, but nationwide. And so we've been in contact with Franklin Covey Company, and they have a program titled Leader in Me. It's aimed at character development in K through 12 youth, and we have been earmarked for a grant totaling more than $1.5 million to implement the Leader in Me in all of our schools. Now,
I didn't hear.
We've been earmarked for a grant for $1.5 million, about $1.5 million to implement the Leader in Me in all of our schools.
Okay.
Now, we have a couple of other options, capturing kids' hearts, and then the Gentlemen's and Ladies Club. And so we'll have our principals select which program fits best for their school, but we anticipate having those fully operational beginning next school year. We'll continue our service contracts with our behavioral health service providers. Of course, our school-based mental health grant will continue. We'll continue with our screeners in terms of our HQ8 depression screeners. We administer twice a year. Continue to do that. We'll continue to do our surveys with our students. Check on the pulse of how they're doing in terms of their social and emotional wellness. Of course, our investment in human capital. In the budget last year, we have the assistant director for human resources. We did not fill that position. We intend to do that this year. I mentioned earlier with the academic rigor and relevance, the additional specialists for instructional innovation. They have leveraged our AI initiatives, our teacher apprenticeship program, and our look at the contract, our family medical leave processing services. That has become a lot. That's changed over the years. It's very tedious, and to have the person with the expertise in doing that in-house, we just have not. It has been painful. Just put it that way. We've done it, but it's not without some pain points. So we've contacted the company who provides this service. They can do it via third-party contract. We're in the process of evaluating that contract right now. We hope to have that to the board for recommendation in June and start in the next fiscal year. Of course, we already mentioned teacher, custodian, bus driver, school nutrition staff, schools and departments, pay raises, and implementation of our $15 minimum wage for full-time DCSS employees. Continuing investment in human capital. As you know, we've continued our enhanced benefit program, the employer paid long-term disability, employer paid life enhanced employer assistance program, DCSS perks program, health and wellness center that's underutilized. I'm guilty of that. Then of course I pay out for unused vacation time and the 5% defined contributions plan for our public school employee retirement service employees. And family and community engagement finally continuation and expansion of our level up program. I think we're on our 9th cohort for CNA, and we are on our 3rd cohort for heavy equipment. And we look to expand those next year. And of course, our student mentor partnerships, along with the leader in me, Captain Kids Hearts, the Gentlemen's and Ladies Club, we're in the process of making contact with community service organizations, fraternities, sororities, faith-based organizations to provide group mentoring services that are aligned with those 3 programs to provide support for our students in our elementary through middle school.
And we were in a 3rd cohort of what?
Heavy equipment operation, yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. And that's the level up program. And then finally, we're going to launch this fall the Volunteer Instructional Leadership Learning Academy, a DILA program that will engage citizens, provide them with information on how the school system works and how they can participate. And we think knowledge is power. The more they know, the more they can be able to advocate and also hold us accountable. Significant considerations, and here, of course, the teacher pay increases, the DCSS minimum wage increase of $15 per hour, our state health benefit plan, employer match increases, teacher retirement, employer contribution increase, the new positions that we talked about, and then reallocating the grant funding positions to the general fund. And Ms. Youngblood and I had a conversation during after the Building and Grounds Committee last couple weeks ago. We talked about coverage, and I think WB reached out to us. They never came back to us about school systems who were having layoffs for educators because they hired a lot of educators with ESSER funds immediately after the pandemic. With those funds coming to an end, now we have school systems laying off lots of educators. And Ms. Youngblood asked me, were we in that close to that? And I said, no, so we're not the board, as you know. Knowing that the end was coming, with ESSER funds, focus our priorities on equipment and short-term targeted remediation and support to accelerate learning. After-school programs using existing staff, Saturday school programs using existing staff, and expanded summer learning programs using existing staff. The only employees that we put on ESSER funds were the early leadership specialists. And that's a number 1 priority in our strategic plan. We would have put them on general fund anyway. We just used ESSER funds for the first 4 years, and then so we saved some general fund money on that. And I think that's it. Those are the only ones I think that we put on ESSER. We did have 1 career transition specialist using the Georgia Power Grant, which is also scheduled to run out this year. We're going to advocate for it to continue. We have a meet with them sometime soon. But if not, then that position will move to general fund. That's the career transition specialist that works with our students in the Connected to Careers program, where they get the high school diploma and the 2 technical college certificates at the same time. And so that position also is critical to the relevant support of our strategic plan. So those will be folded into the general fund. Only 5, as opposed to hundreds by some others. And then we have some challenges. We talked about the state health employer match challenge. We've always talked about the talent teacher pipeline, the number of teacher ed graduates in the university system of Georgia schools has gone down 36.9% over the last 10 years from 2014, when it was the number was 3,223 to 2023, but the number had dropped to 2033. 1,190 fewer bachelor degrees awarded in teacher education, and that is expected to continue because of generational shifts with baby boomers all but retired, Generation Xers beginning to retire, millennials and Gen Zs. People talk about that in jest sometimes, but there are some differences in new generation of workers. They value flexibility a lot, and traditional teaching does not provide the flexibility they look for. 7 hours a day in a classroom, 5 days a week, 10 months a year, doesn't appear to be flexible. Even notwithstanding the fall break for a week, Thanksgiving break for a week, Christmas and New Year's break for 2 weeks, spring break for a week. Summer you can get 2 months off if you don't do summer school, but it's still not the type of flexibility they're looking for. So that and the pay disparity between what teachers make and what they can get in the private market, that combination doesn't work well for attracting young talent. So we're as you know, we've done a lot of work to increase pay, provide additional flexibility, and get those people who become interested in teaching later in their career to join the ranks and get them prepared to teach effectively. So we'll continue those efforts, but that fight for talent will continue. Wage inflation, of course, since the pandemic, wage inflation has impacted several employers. That's why we're raising our minimum wage to $15 an hour to be able to attract employees. I won't go over the state health benefit plan math again, but that's going to be about a $6.7 billion increase impact on the Dougherty County school system once it's fully implemented. Then one thing we have not talked about here before, we have talked about internally with our extended day operations. We subsidize, it's supposed to be self-support. 2013 to 2019, we subsidized from the general fund our extended day operation, $155,000, 7 years, 6 years. Last 3 years, and this year is not over. We subsidized by over $1 million. We're going to have some conversations about how we best serve students after school and extended day. We're talking to partners who provide services, city provide services, the Boys and Girls Club provide services, YMCA can provide services. We're going to have some discussions, but that's not sustainable. We averaging about $250,000 to $300,000 since the pandemic. And some sites are better than others in terms of their P&L, profit and loss, but we have some who are just not collecting fees. And we can't continue to do that. That was a business, and it really operates like a business. It's supposed to be self-supporting. And so we're going to have some serious conversations about that, look at structural changes, and maybe closing some sites, consolidate some sites to make that more financially feasible. Next steps, after the presentation of the tentative budget and approval of the tentative budget, which we hope we'll get that today, we'll advertise as required. Of course, we get more from the feedback, and we are proposing to have budget hearings on June 10th and June 17th. June 10th at noon, 17th at 6. Then we'll make any adjustments to the tentative budget based on feedback from the board members and the public during those hearings. And then we're also proposing that we, I've spoken to the chair about this, the changing the board meeting, having one board meeting this month versus 2, having it on June 21st at noon. And that's what we anticipate having a budget adoption at that time. Of course, you know, state law requires us to have a budget adopted prior to July 1st of every year, which is the beginning of the fiscal year. Any questions or comments?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Superintendent, I'm asking, where would Bill sign up be, and how would that be advertised?
We will provide that at the first meeting in July, and we'll have the curriculum, and we'll have the marketing campaign provided to you at that time.
Coach Poole ready to sign up now.
Yeah, I already give him.
But I do have several people that I
Yes, ma'am.
share it with, so we're just waiting on that information.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
Yes,
all.
Mr. Youngblood?
Just a comment, one of the your staff, fellow board members, managing this budget. It was crucial during that time period to create a position to sustain after the layoff. And it's 40+ million reserve fund staff. That position does for the future.
Yes, sir.
As Reverend Bush said last week, there was a time when we had to do tax anticipation notes. And I remember the time we were $9 million shortfall in furlough days, classified staff.
Yes, sir.
We have come a long way as a system. Financial management. We're not facing the layoffs, we're not facing the tax increases. They were everywhere. I also remember back when the extended day program started, recently, and we keep that program long for a while. That was so whatever we can do to provide sometimes really ought to be a flag for on all of them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're all like,
Yes, sir. As you notice, I didn't say we needed to discontinue the service. We need to find other entities who may be able to provide that service where we can't do it efficiently, and then consolidate where it makes sense. But yeah, we intend to keep an extended day program because that's an important service to our families. And without that service, some students will be going home without adequate supervision. Any other questions, Madam
Reverend
Chair?
Bush?
Mr. Youngblood, can you explain to us, to the best of your knowledge, I think the General Assembly at the last session, they passed by one vote to give people the opportunity to go to different schools, and the school boards locally will have to pay, subsidize it. Now, what I'm getting at is that you have a reserve here, and for the counties that don't, I guess, have just been spend like drunken sailors, what is going to happen? Can you tell us what might possibly happen when it comes into effect?
Well, there were two bills passed. I don't know what you're referring to. One was the voucher bill that provides $6,500 for families to go to private school or to homeschool. And if the school is in the bottom 25% of performance in the state. And we have some exposure there. I think 6 of our schools, 5 of our schools, I can't remember, currently in that range. And I'm not as concerned about that, about them going to a private school, because tuition at private schools, and most of them, is not more than $6,500. And students and families who struggle financially, if the tuition is $13,000, that $6,500 really is not going to give you what you need to move forward. I think we provide a quality education for our students, and I think our families recognize that. What I'm concerned about is that some folks may decide to homeschool and get $6,500 and not really provide the type of education that's required. And then once they realize that the students are falling behind, they bring them back to us, and then they're further behind than they would have been if they had stayed. And that's my greatest concern, not a financial concern for the school system, but a social concern, because if they come back to us underprepared, get frustrated, drop out, then that's a social issue that we're going to have to contend with. We also have a bill that was passed that allows parents to choose to go to any school system in the state of Georgia, provided that regardless of where they stay, provided that the receiving school district accepts them. So it's an expansion of school choice that we haven't seen before. goes across lines. That bill did have it to where the school system they were leaving would have to pay some funds. That part was stricken from the final bill, and the school system that is receiving them can charge them tuition that amounts to the difference between what they get in QBE and the amount that the local school system provides per student in terms of their funding. Again, we have exposure there. It depends on what people want to do. But I'm not concerned about Dougherty County school system. I think we have a good plan in place. I think people recognize the education that we're providing is quality. And if we do see a decline in student enrollment, we have a reserve that can support us until we can right-size the school system. Some school systems that are not as fortunate as us, they can face significant financial difficulty because those two items will come on top of what we already talked about with the state health benefits plan and retirement increases, as well as the wage inflation we're all grappling with. I don't know if I answered your question, but I gave you what I knew about those.
Yes, sir. You did.
Yes, sir.
I thank you and your staff and the board for their stewardship. And that was a real good analytical answer. Thank you.
Any more questions, Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. The next item is item number 9, committee reports. And item number 10, a financial report, which we have just heard about. And item number 11, I'm assuming that was your superintendent's report as well? Okay, all right. You.
Long time no see.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Well,
Yeah, I have one later.
yeah, he was in charge today. He told me I was doing it, so I couldn't tell him no. And so real quick though, we'll do strategic plan update, celebrations, announcements, and then an executive session. That quick, because our mission again is to be a destination school system that works with our community stakeholders to develop our students to impact and contribute to society. And our mission, of course, is to meet the academic and non-academic needs of our students with a rigorous and relevant educational experience that equips them to succeed in life. And our priority areas, as we discussed earlier, and we'll start right now, again, recapping Dougherty County Pre-K. Expansion continues. 5 new classes last year, 3 for general ed. That second, and 3 new classes this year for general ed, for a total of 8. I didn't speak about the special ed classes last year. We had 1 new special ed class last year and 2 new special ed classes coming this year. So that's a total of 11 new pre-K classes over the last 2 years, and we're really excited about that. Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful.
Academic rigor and relevance and investment in human capital, they go together on this one. Of course, our AI resources, Magic School, EduAid.ai, and DFID. We talked about those before. Ms. Herring came and gave an overview of those. We've also given overviews to our district school leaders, and they're excited about these initiatives. And the investment in human capital piece comes in with the expansion of the staff by 2 to go out and leverage. Not only we're not going to give these resources to teachers and say, here you go. We're going to teach them how to best leverage these resources in the classroom to get the most return on our investment in them. And with it being very new and hard to keep up with because it changes, it evolves so quickly now. These 3 people, the coordinator and the 2 specialists, will keep their ear to the ground and keep their eye on the latest developments. Research them and see which ones be most effective in our schools and provide professional development to our principals and other educators in our buildings so that they can get the most benefit from the resources that we require. This week, we had a gentleman from a company with the acronyms of ALP, Advanced Learning, the P professionals. They provide support for school systems throughout the country in implementing an AI strategy. it can be very, very overwhelming because there's so much you can do. So, and the tendency is to try to do everything and be a jack of all trades and a master of none. We don't want to do that. We want to focus those areas that we want to use AI to those areas that are aligned with the priorities in our strategic plan, and have policy and a framework that supports that. And so the first step of that was having him present to district and school leaders earlier this week with some robust discussion, an overview of AI, what it does, what it can do, how it can impact education, and we actually did some group work, hands-on work using some AI resources. And then we talked about next steps in terms of framework, some policies that we need to consider, and put guardrails up, because it's a powerful resource and it can be used for good but not so good. We want to make sure we teach and equip our students and educators with the knowledge they need to make the right decisions when it comes to the use of artificial intelligence, and also to equip our students when they get into the real world about how to use it, because when they graduate, it's being used right now. It will continue to be used and continue to expand. So again, equipping them with the skills they need to be successful when they leave, not only while they're here, but when they leave here. Also, our Instructional Coaches Academy, this is the second year, going through 2 years of training with our instructional coaches. And this is important because it's always been important. Job-embedded professional learning has always been important. But when you look at the number of teachers who come to the profession through an alternate pathway, who have not gone through a traditional teacher prep program, and they don't have the pedagogy to impart the knowledge. They may have content knowledge, but they don't have the pedagogical skills to impart the knowledge to our students. Then having instructional coaches in the building is imperative to make sure they provide effective instruction and that they grow and develop as they need to. So our instructional coaches in the past, we've hired the best teachers, made them instructional coaches. And that doesn't always, the best teachers doesn't always mean they'll be a good instructional coach. Teaching kids and teaching adults, that's a different skill set. So what we've done is we're very intentional about developing a program, a unique program, part developed in-house, delivered in-house, part through third party, to equip our instructional coaches with the skills they need to help develop our teachers and training them on the instructional, the coaching cycle, instructional strategies, and ways to impart that to our teachers. And next year, they're going to work with our innovation specialists to learn how to leverage AI and use that with our teachers, particularly our new teachers and teachers who struggle, so that we can scale our initiative much more quickly than we would just using 3 people to go to all the schools. We had the leader, and maybe talked about that earlier, $1,583,940.13 has been earmarked for the Dougherty County School System to implement Leader in Me at every DCSS school. After discussions with our school leaders, we'll move forward with finalizing acceptance of these funds. We may not implement it at every school. We're going to let the schools decide which program works best for them, but this will be at no cost to the school system. And it's a tried and true youth development program sponsored and developed by Franklin Cody. Finally, celebrations. 834 graduates from our 3 schools walked across the stage. 236 from Dougherty, 257 from Monroe, and 341 from Westover. It was a great 2 days. It's my favorite event of the year, bar none. Probably we're in a close second, along with a teacher of the year, is our retiree celebration. A couple of days before our graduates walked across stage, we had retirees celebrate varying careers, lengths of careers rather, in the Dougherty County School System and public education in general. And so I think, if I recall correctly, we had over 1,000 years of experience retiring this year. We're going to miss most of them. I'm being silly. We're going to miss all of them. They've made an impact on children in this community for quite some time, and they're gonna be hard to replace. But so as excited as I am about seeing them reach a new phase in their careers, I'm still a little sad to see them go because they served us well, served the students well, and part of the family. So we're happy for them, but we're sad to see them go at the same time. But unless you're like Coach Poole, you never really goes away. With things around and give them back. We appreciate that. And then Georgia High School Association track meet. We hosted classifications 3A and 4A at UMill Stadium. Our results, our first and second place results, you see on the screen. AAA, we had 3 first place winners, 1 individual and 2 relays, and 1 second place winner. And boys AAA, they are from Monroe, of course. Boys AAA, we had 2 first place, 2 state champions, a relay, and 1 individual event, and 1 second place. And then boys quad A, we had a second place finish by West Oak. So congratulations to those young men and women who represent themselves, the schools, and the school system in our community quite well. And then, if you haven't heard, I'm sure you have, Westover Marching Patriots Band performed in the National Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. And they did an excellent job. It was televised. It was live streamed. And we were proud when we saw them marching up the street playing those patriotic songs and representing us very well. We're proud of them. I'm sure you've heard that. If you hadn't heard it before, you're the only one, because Coach Hill was blasting it from the mountaintop.
And the music was excellent.
It was.
It was excellent
It was.
by our band.
The musicianship is it's probably those new instruments you all approved of to buy a couple of years ago. It helped a little bit. And that's what investing in your arts does for our students. Gives them exposure to things that they wouldn't otherwise have. It was a job well done, yes sir. And then announcements, again, our proposed public hearings, June 10th and 17th. June 10th at noon, 17th at 6, both be in the boardroom. DCSS Summer Leadership Institute will be June 17th and 18th at Monroe High School. Our June board meeting proposed is June 21st at noon. And I don't have it up there, I did mention to the chair, we talked about June 27th, the date of the original board meeting. Hope you had it on your schedule for the whole board training by Ms. Bowie from Georgia School Board Association. Quick report, ma'am, board members. That's it. Any questions?
No, but I would like to add an observation, Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am, please.
On the 16th of May, thanks to Mr. Dyer and Mr. Book, we had a group of scholars from Dougherty High, Monroe High, Westover, and the Commodore Conyers College and Career Academy attend the Fall Field Day that was held at New Communities Incorporated at Cypress Pond out on Old Pretoria Road, at which our Secretary of the United States Department of Agriculture was the guest speaker. Let me tell you, Mr. Dyer and Mr. Bullock, by way of reporting to you directly, that those young scholars were well-dressed, well-behaved, well-mannered throughout the day that they were there with us. And I'd like for this assembly to give them a hand now. And I believe pictures were sent to, you? Did you get? Okay. Some pictures were sent where some of our students took pictures with the Secretary of Agriculture for the United States of America. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Dara, just say one thing about the band. I live near Westover High School, and they practiced in the neighborhood. And usually you're gonna hear a few people say, I wish they wouldn't make all that. I didn't hear that. I heard how wonderful they were and how pleased the people were hearing them march through the neighborhood.
Yeah, but he said they practice in the neighborhood. They don't just hear in the neighborhood, they walk through the streets in the neighborhood playing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were playing.
Right.
But I only heard compliments.
Yeah,
No
good,
negative.
good.
That's great.
Mr. Dyer, that school system of designation is at the doorsteps. I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
want to tell you, I kept warning you that they're going to come running here, and they surely will. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you for your leadership.
Any other further questions or comments? All right, this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss,
Madam Chair,
yes, ma'am,
I
to
move
discuss
the-
litigation, personnel, and property.
I move the adoption of the force identified.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
The motion passes. We are now in executive session. got a big crowd with us today. Thank y'all for coming back. All right, at this time, we will begin our regular meeting, and I would ask for everyone to stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time, Mr. Deputy Superintendent, do we have any public comments or presentations?
No, we do not.
All right. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as amended with
Madam
the
Chair.
addition of the personnel addendum as item 2A.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. At this time, I will entertain, at this time, are there any changes to the May 13th meeting, the minutes for the May 13th meeting? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve a consent agenda, items 2 through 8 and item 10 with the addition of 2A.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. I do believe we have one announcement, but are there any other announcements or comments from the board members?
I did get a question, Madam Chair,
Yes.
and I don't understand the question, so I'll get back with you. But I was asked by the custodians, why can't they get on the plan that the cafeteria workers are on? Because a lot of, that's why I said I didn't know there was a difference, because they were all classified as both. Do cafeteria workers get something different than the custodians? I'll try that. The person who passed by me in Walmart mentioned to me was gonna call me and give me the rest of the information to me. But they said that a lot of custodians are applying for the cafeteria jobs, because cafeterias. They said plain. Okay. Okay, if I get more information, I'll follow up with that, but I understand that conversation.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get my bill.
Thank you. Yep.
Board, if you will allow me just for a second, I'd like to step out and I'd like to address Superintendent, if I may.
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead. He's coming to punch you.
Yeah. I appreciate this opportunity. I'd like to kind of talk to you guys just come out and thank you for all the support that you give me. Not only support but leadership. I think at this point right now, I don't think people really know what a perfect storm is. We were out here. And the reason why I say that, from the time that we started, we were hit with actual storms, and we had to go and meet with our local authorities to try to come up with a plan, not only the schools, but the community. We also were hit with a lot of cutback from the state, and we had to make, adjustment with the positions. We also were hit with COVID. And what I realized was through that, I was so blessed because of the previous experiences, all of how you put stuff together. Coming in as a non-traditional educator, as we like to say, I think that you're the very best hand as a leader. I know personally I know you could have always been having with you, not the best person to kind of be having with all the time, but I say this. I'm so glad God gave you opportunity to do this, because you changed our community, our region, our district, a lot of state people, other people look for you for guidance, and you to be truly all of us. So I want to appreciate you here and forever what you've done for me, my family, and friends, more important kids here in our district.
Right.
Yeah.
You got something in your eye.
Yeah.
Those years a mess.
I did it before. About 4 or 5 days a week. Got to figure this thing out. Probably with support. I don't know how to do it with playing, how to do it with the support. We were both trying to figure it out alone. But that makes challenges. Makes opportunities. Figure that out. You already know that. But let's put it back out. Put it in. Selfish. Sacrifice. I can't say anything because I'm a part. I was playing.
We'll get a great picture.
Look at the yellow church.
Okay, there's no other business to address. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, motion.
Oh, wait. Oh, Reverend Bush has something.
I want to thank, this body, this board, those people, for quietly supporting my campus. Miller County, bullet, we call that, he knows what we thought. Brother Davis called it something else. But I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. We won big. And I thank you. And I enjoy working with this board. And all, everybody. I think we're moving this county. I'm glad you didn't have platforms. Thank you for what you're doing, man. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Bush. We're glad to have you.
Madam Chairperson.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Bull.
Just one announcement. On Saturday, Parks and Rec are having Bridge Builder. All those partners you mentioned earlier, Mr. Dyer, will be at Thornton from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. We're inviting all the middle and high school students to come. I don't have a 600 hot dogs and hamburgers, so we're inviting 600 middle school and high schoolers to come out and get a chance to be with the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club. All the youth serving organizations will be there with their groups as a bridge builder. We do programs for them every other weekend. So if you know anybody, I got flyers. I'll certainly pass them on.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Motion to adjourn.
I'll offer the motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Second, Poole.
All in favor?
Aye.